What's up guys, Chasing Lamely here, and it's episode 118 of Welcome to Wroxham, the second Premier League transfer special. And we've had more outgoings than incomings, but we probably need to trim the squad a little bit. So, stick around, like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave them comments down below if you see anyone you like the look of. And I'll see you on the other side of the intro to see who's gone and see who's new. So here we are then, ahead of the brand new Premier League season, and we are predicted to stay up. I'll tell you that much for nothing right now. But before we do that, we need to go and see what the previews are saying. Let's go see who's left the club, and I'll go through them one by one. Well, the important ones at least. So the first permanent transfer out the door, rather fittingly in many ways, Charlie Patino has joined Cardiff. And he has gone to South Wales for a fee of 1.2 million. He wasn't playing for us, and I felt like we had better options coming in, so I let him go. And 1.2 million is a decent deal for a player that we signed for nothing, so we'll take it. We'll take that and reinvest it is what we did. On a similar train of thought, Alvaro has joined Sunderland permanently. Of course, he was there on loan last season, but I didn't think he was going to come back and make an impact on the squad we had. So, offered him to him for $9.5 million. They ripped my arm off. So, there we go. Alvaro has joined Sunderland. Bit of a sad departure this. Austin Chimesi has joined Wigan permanently. He hasn't played for us for a couple of seasons now. He's been on loan to Wigan for the last few years as well. So it just made sense. We've got $240,000 for him. He played for us all the way up into the Championship. I say all the way into the Championship. He didn't play a Championship game for us, but he played for us from League 2 through League 1 promotion. He always looked decent, but he never quite made it. He's 23 now. I can't see him getting much better than he already is. So I just took money and let him move on, trim the squad down a bit. I'd have had to register him to play him anyway. And I wasn't going to play him, so I wasn't going to register him. Now, Austin Burgess, we made a little bit of a loss on, funnily enough. He has rocketed in value compared to what I sold him for. He's joined Bristol City. I sold him for £125,000. He was also on loan there last season. I just didn't see him getting anywhere near our first team anytime soon after his season at City, so I let him go. We've lost 150k on him, which is a bit sad, especially because he's now predicted to be worth 4.3 to 7.6 million, which is absurd. Yeah, he was never quite going to make it here. I think he would have been like a bench player at best. I didn't really see him becoming a starter for us. He's barely a starter for Bristol City, to be honest, I think. So I don't even know where they bought him from us. That's life. Anyway, Austin Burgess has left the club. Now, Freddie Paxton is a player who made such an impact that you probably didn't even know he was here. He spent last season on loan at Barnsley, and again, I just got them to buy him. We signed him from Chelsea on a free, loaned him out last season, had a good year there. They've paid us 775k for him, and apparently that was criminal. So, yeah, another one out the door, but more money brought in. We had to bring in some money this summer because our finances were starting to look really precarious. Now, you may or may not remember Mario Boni. He has joined Barnsley as well. He was on loan there last season too, so they've clearly liked what they've seen from the players that they loaned from us. Again, he's hit 23 years old. I didn't think he was getting much better, so I thought I'd just take the gamble and sell him on. We got 200k for him. I paid nothing for him when we were in League 2, so that's a really good profit for us. He's had some good seasons out on loan as well, which has really helped bolster his value. So they reckon he's worth 3.4 million. Now, he was in the last year of his contract, but even so, he's moved on, and I'm quite happy to let him go. Another long-time club favourite we are unfortunately saying goodbye to is Roger Benete. It says he only played 10 games for us, but I swear he played more games for us than that. I swear he did. Either way, we paid nothing for him when we signed him back in the National League North from Dam, where he did a decent job for us. And then we sent him on loan a few times along the way, including when we got paid 23k by Tenerife for him. We've just sold him to Contra Leonesa in Spain for another 25k, basically. So we've made some money, or a little bit of money on him. He wasn't earning big wages when he was with us, and it frees up a spot in the squad again. Now, perhaps a small surprise is that I've sold Iker Alvarez, who was our backup goalkeeper. He was our Andorran superstar. Only played one league game for us last season. He did play a lot of cup football as well. He was our cup goalkeeper. I've taken a slight haircut on him, but 31 years old, and I've got better options in the squad, so I thought I'd let him go and give some youth a chance. Cristian Romano is a player that even I forgot I had in the squad, because I'd signed him in 2029, so 3 seasons ago, and he's basically just been out on loan the entire time. I signed him for free, I sold him for 2.7 million, but it feels like he's just been out on loan the entire time. It's really weird. He's not really developed at all, which is sad, but I saw a profit and I took it. And actually, in a similar vein, Nikita Danilov didn't play for us at all. He went out on loan last season to Olympiacos, where he played really, really well. But he came back and I looked at his attributes and I just thought, he's not getting better. He's just kind of stagnated a bit. So, when PAOK Salonika offered me £9 million for a player I'd signed on a Bosman, he had his bags packed for him. Frankly, that's great money for a player that cost us nothing. Talking of great money for players that cost us nothing, or at the very least next to nothing, I don't know if you remember me talking about signing Luis Lohr. I thought he'd become a really great player for us, the Ecuadorian international, and he just didn't, quite frankly. He didn't become that good, or he didn't develop as fast as I thought he might. And so he's 20 years old, and he wasn't playing for us, and I didn't want to loan him out again. He was on loan at Bromley for a couple of years, and he did okay there. So I thought I'd offer him out. Burnley, of all people, came in for him. Clearly think they can do better developing him than I can, because they've paid me £23 million, and that's 23 million plus add-ons as well. There's a couple of a sell-on fee in there as well, for a player I signed for £4,000. That's disgusting money, and I'm very happy to have it. That was reinvested really, really well, I think. Now, also headed to Celta Vigo was Miguel Gutierrez, who was our backup left-back last season. We lost some money on him. A lot of money on him, to be honest. 1.65 million, if my maths is right. He only played 7 games for us, and he's 31. I felt like his value was only going to go down, so I let him move on, and again, no real regrets with that. Also leaving the club was Rui Ferreira, who I signed from Hull on I think it was on a free. I signed him from Hull, and again, he had a season back on loan at Hull last season. Yeah, it was on a free. I had a season back on loan at Hull last season. Did well. Didn't come back looking like a player I was going to make use of. So when Lusitania La Rosa from Portugal, whoever they are, literally never heard of them, offered me 2.3 million for him, I took it. And I walked away quite happily. He's 25 years old. He wasn't good enough to be worth registering, so he was good enough to be worth selling. Now, another of our youngsters we signed from South America was Roberto Brites, who I really had high hopes for. I thought he'd become a really great player. And it still says he might, but I'm not fully convinced, in that I don't think his development curve has been as good as it should have been. So anyway, I signed him from Sportivo Luqueño a couple of years ago, and he cost me 1.2 million. I loaned him out to Montpellier for, that should be there, I don't know why it does that, 4.1k for the year in League 1. He did really well. Didn't look good enough to be in the squad coming back, and then Crystal Palace said, do you want 29.5 million quid for him? And I went, yeah, actually, that sounds good. And he was off to South London, just like that. He may well come back next season. We'll probably see him again next year if they come up. But for now, I'm not worried about him being gone. And another player we signed that was so obscure that, again, I forgot I had him in the squad. He'd been out on loan for a little while, was Nick Pudler, the Australian winger. I barely remembered signing him last season, and he came back off loan. I thought nothing of it. I paid 100k for him. He had a season on loan at Luton in the Championship. Fortuna Dusseldorf offered us £9.5 million for him, and I went, yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that quite nicely, thanks. So he may be an Australian international, but again, he's not Premier League standard, and he's made us a hefty profit. Another sad player to see go, though, is Daniel Ramirez, who 104 league games, 48 goals for the club, was with us for 4 whole seasons after we signed him from Atletico Madrid and scored some incredible goals for us. But he's 24 and he wasn't in my squad. I couldn't figure out a way to make him fit in our first team squad for this season. He spent last season on loan to Coventry, and then I said, do you want to buy him for 1.7 million? And they said yes. He cost me nothing when I signed him from Atletico Madrid, and he gave us some really good seasons. A lot of really good goals. He's unfortunate to have not got a Premier League game for us, quite frankly. But since he didn't, we thought we'd let him go. And he may well as well come back to haunt us. Coventry have been sort of threatening to come up for a couple of seasons now. So we may well see him again. Who knows? Let's get back to a bit of silly money, shall we? Luka Podolak was our 5th or 6th choice goalkeeper. And I thought, I've probably got too many goalkeepers, and he's 27. So I offered him out. And then Arsenal offered me 250k for him to presumably be their 4th choice goalkeeper or something stupid. For a player I spent 27.5k on and immediately loaned out, I'll take that. That's great. That's good money, good business, good profit. Now, talking of young players I've moved on though, however, Ibrahim Touati, who joined us when we were still Conference North, I think? National League. He joined us on trial. Well, I say on trial. I spotted him as a 16-year-old and had him on trial until he officially joined us in League One. Sent him on loan to Hampton and Richmond to toughen him up a little bit, and then to Blythe Spartans in League 2 and Boreham Wood in League 2. Just keep him toughening up, you know. And then Brighton came in and said, do you want 11 million quid for him? And I went, yeah, actually, he's not worth 11 million quid. So, fill your boots. Bye-bye. Now, another player who hardly played for us after I signed him was Connor Douglas. I don't even know if I mentioned signing Connor Douglas. It was so long ago. He signed for us when we were in League 1 still. Wasn't good enough for our squad then, so we loaned him to Rochdale, and then we loaned him to Barrow, and then we loaned him to Coventry, and then QPR offered me 1.3 million for him. So he's gone. Bye. Now, I really had high hopes for Ryan Fawkes when I signed him from Blackburn. I thought he'd be a really good player. I thought he'd become a great player for us. And for some reason, he just never seemed to quite be good enough, ever. When I looked at the squad, he just didn't quite have it. So I paid 300k to, was it Blackburn or was it Forest? Or I forget where I bought him from. From Liverpool. I bought him from Liverpool. He just had a lot of seasons out on loan at a lot of clubs. I paid 300k for him anyway when I signed him, and I've just sold him for 3 million to Shakhtar Donetsk, which feels like an odd place for a Welshman to end up, but that will be life. And yeah, they apparently were willing to sell him right now for 10 million. Have they transfer listed him already? That would be crazy if they had. Yeah, £3 million for him. You can't complain. So I didn't. Another sad departure was Costas, who has literally been with us since the start of the save. And he's still only 24. Costas was a youth product first season, I want to say, in the Isthmian Division 1 North. Then we played him a lot the next season, and he kind of came off the boil a little bit once he got to Southern Premier and National League level. We just kind of grown faster than he had as a footballer. So we sent him on loan to Olympiacos Blue, I think they're like under 21 team, and he did really well. Sent him to Kings Lynn, our affiliates, for 4 games, did okay, and did it again, and he did really well. Accrington Stanley loaned him, and again he did well. Boreham Wood had a great season in League 2 there, a great season for Sutton United, but I felt bad sort of holding him hostage a little bit, so I thought I'd let him make his own fortune. I've essentially released him to Cheltenham, where I think he'll have a really good career. I don't think we'll come across him again. He won't make it up as far as the Championship even, but he has played 38 league games for us. He has been part of the club since the start and was probably actually on for a testimonial this season, so I feel like I've robbed him a bit. that's fine. He'll get over it. That's all okay. So Costas has left the building. Now, Sam Andrews was a player I signed because he looked really good. Honestly, on paper, when I signed him, he looked like a great signing for us. I think I signed him on a pre-contract as we were halfway through the championship season, when I still didn't fully believe we'd go up, and I thought Sam Andrews would be a good enough player to push us over that line. And you can see from his pace and things, he's a decent championship player. Probably even says somewhere here he's a decent championship player. But by the time he got here, we were a Premier League side, which was really unfortunate for him, to be honest. It said he came when we were in the Championship, but it was at that crossover point. So I sent him on loan for Ross County, had him on loan at Celtic for a year, and Aberdeen just paid me 4.3 million for him. And again, a free transfer. We like that. We like when that happens. And our final big player out is Thomas Rainsford, who I signed on a free a couple of seasons ago, I think. I signed him largely because I figured an Irish international couldn't be that bad. He's not actually that bad a player. He would be on the fringes of our squad. He's not much worse on current ability, I'd say, than Ahmed Gamar. But he's 25. I didn't think he had the potential. So he had a season on loan at Ipswich last year. And then Brighton offered me 5.25 million for a player who cost me nothing. And he wasn't going to play. He was just going to kind of stagnate through not playing and thus lose value. So again, really nice piece of business. I'm very happy with that. But now's a good time for us to meet the players who've replaced these guys. And I haven't shown you everyone that's left, and a lot of players who've left on freeze. Sergei Milinkovic-Savic retired. Bunch of players have gone on loan. I dread to think of the number of players I've let leave the club this summer. It's probably close to 50, but I haven't bought that many. So let's go meet the guys who have come in. So our first signing of the summer was Jakub Bak. He is a right winger from Poland. I signed him from Lech Poznan. He's developing still. He's very young. He's 18 years old. He's not even in the Poland team yet. He's in their under-21s. So what I've done, I've brought him in. I paid 4.8 million for him. Olympiacos have paid me 1.5 million to loan him for this season. And I think actually that's a really good move for him because he'll develop really well in Greece. Olympiacos have incredible training facilities as well. So I think it's a really good deal for him. I could have sent him back to Poznan probably, but I feel like the Greek Super League is a slight step up from the Ekstraklasa. Not a big one, but it's a slight step up. He'll play against better players. He's going to play Champions League football this season. Just felt like an all-round good deal. But we'll see him down the line. I've got no doubt we'll see him down the line. I also signed Dudu from Botafogo Rio. He's gone back to them on loan because, again, he's 22. He's not quite the finished article yet. He's a holding midfielder and plays all across the defence. And weirdly is a right winger. Don't know why that happens, but weirdly has decided to learn to play as a right winger. We'll let him do it. We actually signed him on a free and loaned him back. It was a really odd deal because they weren't going to renew his contract for some reason, or he hadn't renewed his contract with them. We signed him and they said, "Can we loan him back?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." He's not playing well though, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go for him. Now have a look at this fella, his stats, his positioning, his nationality, his history of clubs. Does he remind you of anyone at all? Someone Welsh, good on the left wing, came out of United's academy, connection to Salford. I reckon this fella reminds me a bit of a young Ryan Giggs, and at 24 years old, with admittedly a model professional personality, so that's how you know it's not a regen of Ryan Giggs. £750,000 for a guy who's had many seasons on loan in the Championship in League One with West Brom, with Birmingham. Always played well there. He's done really well. Everywhere he's gone on loan, to be honest, he's done really well. So I thought I'd take a punt on him. He's going to be a squad player this year, more than I would say a starter. I think he'll probably play in the Cups and he'll play the odd league game here and there. but I do think he's got more upside than he's letting on, and he's worth £23 million now. So let's see how that goes. I've also signed, because I just had a sneaky feeling there might be some potential here to exploit or profit to be made, whichever one works best for you. 24-year-old Zane Huggins has joined us from Tottenham for £230,000 after seasons on loan at Oxford, at Preston and at Swansea. He's not a prolific goal scorer. He is definitely more of a false nine, but if I can make him work or get him a good loan or do something with that, if I haven't got him on the loan list at the moment, I don't think I do. I'll sort that out. But yeah, I just have a feeling. He might be useful. I don't know why. Now, of course, Oliver Fish we had on loan last season from Bayern Munich. I'd already arranged to sign him pretty much immediately after he signed. Now, there was a logic to this because he didn't really play for us last season, but he's got really good potential according to our scouts. So I loaned him 59k, and they put a thing in there saying you can buy him anytime you like for 300k. And I went, okay, good stuff, because he was worth £7.5 million, apparently. So someone at Bayern has been sacked for that piece of business. And then I've loaned him out to Hamburg in the Bundesliga for this season, because I don't think he's ready to play first-team football for us yet. But I think if he can play first-team football in the Bundesliga, he's probably going to turn out to be a nice little player. He's got 40 caps for the under-21s for Germany. He's 23 years old, can play at almost anywhere. Well, in the attacking half of the field at least. Yeah, I think he'll be alright for us. He did actually play more than one game for us last season. He played a few cup games as well the first year we had him. A couple of cup games, scored a really good goal. I remember scoring a really good goal in that game. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he looks like when he comes back. Now on our World Tour of signings, Peter Fuchs comes in from Young Boys. So be very careful how you say those two things together. He's a right back and a centre half. He's absolutely massive. He's really quick. I got the impression from my scouts he had more potential ability than that, but we'll see how that goes. I've sent him on loan for the year to Sturm. In fact, I've sold him to Sturm Graz. Don't even know how they put a bid in for him that quickly. Crazy. Yeah, okay, he came in, he went. Ignore that. We had him for a cup of coffee, and then he left. So, immediate profit. Yay. On more of a positive note, we've signed Jeremy Octavia from Paris Saint-Germain for a nice, casual, tasty fee of absolutely nothing. He's 19 years old. He's under 21 international for France. 16 million valuation, which is always a positive. I've been told he's got good potential. I'm going to try and loan him out this season to see if and where that potential lies. Can play in defensive midfield, central midfield, all the way up the right. Probably won't play him on the right wing because he's got absolutely no pace at all. He's got nothing to offer on that right wing, if we're honest. It's supposed to be a target forward. If I put the position up where he would play for us in our system, 2 off the ball, 1 for crossing, 6 for dribbling. Yeah, not so much. In central midfield, though, he is a decent-ish box-to-box and a decent-ish Mazzala, and if he improves with a season out on loan, which hopefully I've got him on the development list, if I haven't, I'll figure that out as well. A season on loan, maybe he'll come back a really good player. We're going to have a look, or if not, just hope his value goes up. I also signed this guy, an Italian fellow, Lorenzo Conti, 25 years old, joins us from Napoli after playing 99 games there. He's got 22 under-21 caps for Italy. I brought him in because I thought he looked a decent player when I scouted him, and I got him in. I was like, maybe he needs a year to develop. He's a decent defensive midfielder, to be fair to him, but I've paid nothing for him, so that's fine. I've sent him on loan to Sassuolo for 1.3 million for the year, which is really good business. We've already turned a profit on him. He's also had seasons on loan at Parma and Bari and done okay. I mean, he's played a lot of Serie A football, to be fair. He's not quite there yet, but we'll see what he's got in the tank when he comes back. Now, talking to Sassuolo, and you're probably wondering if I actually sign anyone that might play this season, because it feels like I've signed a lot of players and loaned them back out. I fully appreciate that. Stefan Gasparic is a Slovenian international centre-half defensive midfielder and left-back, and very good in all of those positions. It has to be said, I like him in all of those positions. He does things we want him to do. He's a wing-back and pretty good. His crossing could use some work. We play with a defensive midfielder, and he's great there. His passing maybe needs work, but he's great there. And we play with a ball-playing centre-half, and again, his passing needs work, but he's not awful there either, and he's absolutely enormous too. I've paid nothing to bring him in. He's played 173 games for Sassuolo in Serie A, as well as having had a season for Cremonese in Serie B. Good player, I think. Really good looking player. Again, I'm not sure about his long-term upside, but I like him as a squad player, and I think he can develop a lot, so we'll see how that goes. Now, another player I signed and loaned out was Thijs van den Belt. I signed him from Ajax on a free, thinking he'd be our backup goalkeeper this season, and then I had a player come back off loan I'd forgotten I had in the squad, who it turns out is a better backup goalkeeper, so he'll be performing that role for us this season. But he signed for free from Ajax at the end of his contract, 621 caps for Holland. He is 24 years old. Heerenveen have paid us £29,500 to loan him back to the Eredivisie, and I think that's actually not a bad shout. I think he's played 62 games for the young Ajax side. He's played 16 league games for Ajax. I think he'll be a first-choice goalkeeper for Heerenveen. So we're going to see what he looks like when he comes back, or if there's a profit to be made, or if he's our new backup goalkeeper, or what he looks like when he returns. And you'll be rejoicing at this one. This is a player I signed to actually play. James Norley joins us on a free transfer from Manchester United. He's 24 years old, 18 under 21 caps for England, good with both feet, can play primarily as a right back and a wing back at that, which we always like to see, although I need to work on his crossing a bit, or as a centre half, where we need to work on his heading, despite the fact, again, this guy is enormous. Huge bloke, 6'4", I think that is, 6'3", 6'4", big old bloke, this fella. He has had a weird career, came through United's youth system, has not played up until he goes on loan to Exeter in League One, has a season on loan at Huddersfield, another season on loan at Huddersfield in the Championship, season at Sunderland in the Championship. United bring him back in last year, and he actually does play 7 league games, a cup game, and a European game for them. And then curiously they go, actually, we don't want him, and they released him. So I was like, all right, we'll give him a go. And yeah, I think he brings something really interesting to this squad. Yes, he's 24, but I do think he brings something interesting to this squad. Now, I had talked as well about how we needed more firepower in the squad last season. John Arias has come in and gone back out, which I know is a bad habit I've got to deal with. He's 25. He's got 2 caps for Colombia already. And he's got a lot of what it takes to be a really good pressing forward. I know it's not listed on the list there. There we go. I think he's got a lot of what it takes. His concentration is the only thing I think needs work. Maybe his work rate as well, to get into line and bring him back up. But I paid nothing to sign him from outside Alkmaar, where he's not been prolific, but he's also been coming off the bench. And I feel like he's had a long career, in fact, as a substitute, just in general. Never started a game for Alkmaar and played 75 games for them. Should tell you all you need to know. They paid 11.5 million for him, so I got him for nothing. They signed him from Liverpool, who in turn signed him from Atlético Nacional in Colombia. I've sent him on loan to América de Cali in Colombia for a fee. He hasn't scored yet. I'm hoping he will get his shooting boots on. He should be a decent enough goal scorer, but he does need that extra year to season, and then we'll see what he looks like when he comes back. And our biggest signing of the summer is a player we actually have already had in the squad for 3 seasons. Jorge Marai, you know him, you love him. He's now our captain as well. I made him our captain upon his return. Has played 90 games for us since joining us on loan from Benfica in 2029. So he's reaching the 100 game mark after 3 loan spells. And then I paid £38 million to just make it permanent, because I think, just looking at the way he's developed over the last few years, will it let me show his developments? Where's the old graph there? The progress graph. If we look at his attributes for all time, which it won't show us because we've just essentially he just keeps getting better year on year on year, almost game after game. He gets better and he gets better and he gets better, and he's already stupidly quick. He can already cross a ball. Needs to work on his tackling a little bit, but everything else, he's a solid wing back, and I think it's a really good piece of business. I genuinely think he might become one of, if not the best left back in the world. And I'm really happy that we've got him as a forever player for us, or at least a until 2036 player. He's on a 3-year deal, which we'll try and get extended beyond that one and beyond that one. He's only 20 as well. Man, he's been with us since he was 18 years, literally since the day he turned 18, I believe. And he just goes from strength to strength. Great player. Now, on the other side of the pitch, I've also signed a player we all actually know from real life. Anthony Gordon, who is an Everton player in real life, I believe. In fact, no, he signed for Newcastle in the summer, didn't he? In the game in real life, he was an Everton player. He did well for Everton. Then Leeds bought him for £35.5 million. He's had some money spent on him. Played a few seasons for Leeds, all around the Premier League. Brighton paid £30.5 million for him to have him for a season. And inexplicably, maybe because he's 31, they sold him to me for £24 million. I don't think he's actually lost a step yet. I think he's still doing okay. He looks like a quality all-round player. Curious that he's never played a game for England. You'd think that kind of consistency of games in the Premier League over that many years, he'd probably have got a call-up by now, but he hasn't. But it does give us some options on the wings, which I really needed, because I feel like Tom Ritchie playing on the left wing isn't productive. I feel like Ahmed Gamar needs some competition to encourage him to improve, and I think Anthony Gordon kind of provides both those things. So he'll play, and he'll play a lot of football for us this season, I think. Now, it does feel a lot of the time like I've turned Wroxham into a bit of a footballing creche. Nicola Angeloni has joined us from Empoli in Italy. He is 19 years old. Very young. But I think he's a right back and a left back. He's probably going to be on the bench a lot this season. I will play him in the Cups. I'm not intending to loan him out, because I think he's good enough to be a first team squad member, even if it's as a backup right now. I think he's good enough to be there. I did pay £11.25 million for him, so it's a big gamble on his potential. But he's playing in Serie A and Serie B for Empoli. I thought he looked cracking as a player. Let's show you him in the role he'd play for us, which would be the attacking wing-back. He's got the acceleration and the pace, the stamina. There's no bad stat there except maybe dribbling. And he's 19. He's only going to get better, and I suspect he's probably going to get his first under-21 cap very soon, if not his first proper cap soon after that. Keep an eye out for Nicola Angeloni. He will be with us for the long term, for the foreseeable future, and maybe even pushing for a starting berth for a season or two. And our final signing of the summer is what I hope will be the solution to our goal-scoring issues. I really hope he'll be the solution to our goal-scoring issues. He literally signed today in-game, just in time for our opener against Liverpool, which will be on Wednesday. Victor Osimhen has joined us, having been released by Real Madrid for free, which is great. That's a price tag we can all get behind. Let's have a look at his career, because we're all familiar with him from real life, of course. Played for Wolfsburg for a couple of years, had a season at Charleroi where he kind of broke out a little bit. They signed him for money and then immediately sold him to Lille, which was a big scandal, I seem to remember in real life. Lille went, we've got this great player, and Napoli paid £63 million for him. He has since played 108 games and scored 46 goals for them over the course of a few seasons. Then Real Madrid paid £85 million for him. He scored 86 goals for them in 198 games. you can see why I wanted to snap him up when I saw he had been released. And I was shocked that he came to us, but that finishing, that composure, that first touch, he's still got all his pace. At 33, he still has all his pace. There's nothing missing. If we look at him in his natural, or in the position we were playing him in, there is nothing missing from that guy's game. Nothing missing. I'm not going to say he can challenge Haaland for the Golden Boot, but he should be second. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's all of our signings for this season. Let's have a little look at the season preview so you know what we're expecting to be facing this year. As I said, we are about to play Liverpool in the first game of the season at our brand new ground as well, which was finally finished being built. We also got new training facilities. They're amazing. Season preview though, let's look at that. We are predicted by the lovely media to finish 13th in the table, which we like. They're saying our predicted starting lineup should be Garda, Porro, Mercato, Griot, Moraes, Shire Emery, Gonzalez, Burns, Osimhen, Thiam and Ritchie. It won't be that. It may be something similar, but it won't be that. Yeah, I feel okay. I feel like we were predicted to finish, 18th last season, and we finished in 10th. So, realistically, we might even finish 5th this year if they're as accurate as they were. Chelsea are somehow the only team in that top 9 positions not to be in Europe. Crazy. Okay, they must have had a hell of a summer transfer window. They must have brought some great players in. They've brought in Dominic Calvert-Lewin for £64 million. Why does that say they've not brought any players in? That's a weird glitch. A weird glitch. Let's have a little look and see if they've actually made some big signings this summer. I'm curious now. Ivan Restrepo, Drew Warburton from Hamburg. I'm guessing he's English. He has no caps, and they've paid $36 million for him. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how they've shot up that far. Anyway, not my problem, not your problem, not anyone's problem. Financially speaking, we have some money in the bank, 35 million. We've got 13 million to spend. I have a couple of players on the bubble as well. I'll show you them in a second. But our projection is still making a loss this season. We've got to get our revenue up. The new ground's only 13,000 seats, which is not really the one for the Premier League. In terms of those players who are coming in, let's ignore the young players. I'm just signing every young player I can find because I got rid of most of our youth team because they were all crap. Gregor Ankovic, I was waiting for a player to leave before I could find the way to sign him. He is joining us from a Hajduk Split. He's going to go and spend the season on loan there. I think he will be our third choice goalkeeper this year, but Hajduk Split should be in European football or thereabouts. He'll certainly play a lot of football for them this season regardless. So it felt like it was better to have him playing in Croatia regular first team football than playing in our reserves for the year. So Gregor Ankovic will join us on Monday when I confirm that. I'm also trying to sign Jan-Paul van Hecke from Aston Villa. He is a 2-cap Dutch international. He's probably a 2-cap Dutch international in real life, to be fair. He's been with Villa for a long time now and played a lot of football for them. Plays for Brighton, of course, in real life, and has had a decent season before, a decent career before that. I didn't fully scout him. I just saw Dutch international very big and the stats I could see and just thought, he can't be that bad. He can tackle. He's got 17 for tackling, 16 for heading, and honestly, I'd like to win more balls in the air. So that's why I thought I'd chuck in that bid for him. I'm also looking to bring in the last signing who will be coming in, hopefully, is Justin Schultz from Bayern Munich. He is a centre-half come defensive midfielder, played for Celtic on loan last year. I'm hoping we can get the same deal on him that we did for Ollie, if I'm honest. See if they're dumb enough to do the same thing twice. If they're not, it's fine. He has had a good loan with Celtic. He's played a lot of games for Bayern 2. He's only played a couple of games for Bayern itself, but he's already played for Germany. So clearly someone, somewhere, rates this fella very highly, and if we can keep him on over the season, only 21, maybe we can put a bid in for him at the end of the year if we get a good transfer budget. That's sort of the thinking. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up there. We are going to be playing Liverpool on Wednesday at home at the brand new Wroxham Stadium. Show you the Wroxham Stadium, 13,361 capacity. Feels a bit like they've could have rounded that number off, but that's fine. Undersoil heating, which will be a novelty here in Norfolk. And I'm not taking the piss out of Norfolk. The ground we've been at for years, Trafford Park, did not have undersoil heating, and we did have a few games moved because it was cold. It will be a novelty for us. And it's going to be playing in every competition, apparently. Great. Good stuff. We've had a good pre-season. We're doing well. And everything is tickety-boo. So, I'm going to see you on Wednesday. Let me wrap the episode up properly with a camera change, shall we? I'll see you all on Wednesday, guys, for that game against Liverpool at home. We will welcome them to Wroxham Stadium. And hopefully we will get the season off to a good start. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I have, as always, been Chasing Lamely. I shall see you all very soon. Until next time, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and stay safe. Have a good one.